Ahoy everyone, welcome to the stream and welcome to another evening of ESailing. Tonight we are doing the ESailing World Series. It's a new format, a new event that's being brought to us by the same people who brought you the Apache Racing Cup, by the Barracuda Cup, and a whole lot of other great events on Virtual Regatta Inshore, which is what we're playing tonight. On the stream tonight, I am also joined by Josh, aka Schleg, from Los Angeles, a sailor from the US, and who will also be commentating with us tonight, co-hosting. How are you doing, Josh?
Great, thank you for having me. Very excited to watch the carnage in the F50s today.
Yeah, it's going to go fast. It's going to be a very tactical, very technical race. We know that. The F50 really doesn't give you a lot of room for mistakes. And it's also a fleet race with up to 14 boats per fleet, per race. So intense in terms of takeoffs, in terms of starts. You're going to have to be really on top of your game to make it through this fleet race. There's going to be 12 races tonight. And first of all, three groups of fleets, Charlie, Bravo, and Alpha. We are waiting for them to get started in just a couple of seconds. And up on your screen right now, you have the current ranking of the ESailing World Series. There was already a first event that took place that was in J70s, right?
Yes, that's what we're taking a look at there, which was really great racing. I watched that as well, and was watching your stream too.
We didn't do it. We didn't stream this one. I think it was
Maybe
streamed on a Ceres channel.
I was watching a series stream for sure, which was equally as exciting.
Yeah, you've been able to watch this event already on the Ceres channel and on other channels because there were 3 qualifying events. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Right now, we're waiting for the first races to get underway, and there are going to be a ton of races tonight. Before we get into the medal and super medal, the format is super interesting, but I guess that's what it takes to get through, 40 racers. This is a huge type of event.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see, especially how aggressive people are. I think that, these really are the 40 best e-sailors in the world, and the game, I think, has slowly been getting more and more aggressive as the margin for victory gets narrower and narrower, and people figure out, the rules closer and closer. And the F50 is the boat where the most crazy scenarios happen. So it'll be very interesting to see how people utilize the rules, stuff like the right boundary rule, and also just hooks at the start will be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, so has the F50 really changed a lot in the last couple of months? Has there been any big change made to that boat and the way it maneuvers, especially downwind? I guess that's
I
the
don't
most.
think so much. There are a few odd rules that come into play with the F50. One being that when they made the game, the boundary rule, which is meant to protect you if you're entering the left boundary, so that you can tack onto port and not be worried about getting a port starboard. The rule is the same on both boundaries. So what you can do is you can actually tack onto port and foul somebody who's at the boundary on the starboard side. So the right boundary is the rule is backwards. But recently, I think they did fix a rule where you could get a penalty in the middle of the course by sailing past a ghost mark, and somebody who's on
the jet ski, right?
Yeah, so I think they did fix that rule, but the boat's still behaving the same. I think what's cool is because of TRL and just a lot of racing, that people have gotten so good in these boats that that they're using every little rule to their advantage. And obviously this is sort of at the highest level right now, so it's going to be exciting to see how aggressive people get here.
And it is a race with I went over the notice of race a little bit earlier. Doesn't seem to be a lot of rules about penalties at the start. I guess we're going to see some pretty risky maneuvers. We're waiting for the first lobby to start here. I've got Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie in the starting stages, but we are, there we go. I guess the first one we're going to be able to watch is Fleet Charlie. The setup is a little bit complicated. We're going to give it to you as we get into this first race here. 3 seconds to start. And we've got Farley in this fleet taking a very good start here from Team Vit. Also, Ramon Parejo, who we spoke to last 2 weeks ago as he won the ESailing World Championship. And we've got a little bit of sound effects, as we usually like, from Virgil Regatta.
So the first thing they're looking at here is which side of the gate is favored, and the leaders will be taking the left turn and probably immediately into attack, which is what Ramon did. And you'll notice that in the F50s, it's so advantageous to get to the right side of the course that people don't usually care about being in bad air, as you see both Farley and Lambrie both decided to attack right in Ramon's bad air and get to that left boundary. The first interesting thing here will be to see if there were any boundary issues on the left, and there weren't.
We saw Beery pick up a penalty here, and probably going to pick up another one right off of Giedris. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the second part of that name. We do have a little bit of a sound problem right here. We excuse ourselves for that. We're going to try to get that fixed as the race goes on. The sound effects here. Oh, what's going on? Ramon went completely over the boundary. Might have had a little bit of a disconnect problem here. I don't know what explains that maneuver, but now he's falling back into 5th, 6th place. And it's Lucas from Team Unicorns of Love here.
I think that must have been a disconnect.
He seems to have been able to come back into the game, luckily for him, but definitely losing in the first place. All right, so now Lucas Moore here, doing very well.
Their whole goal here is to set themselves up for the correct turn and the correct shift, and it looks like the first shift is going to be a right-hand shift. So it wouldn't surprise me to see him take either a left-hand turn or a right-hand turn, but to make sure that he's on port tack coming off, which he is.
We saw Ramon here go for the penalty on Bart as well. Getting back into that 3rd place.
So interestingly, Farley saw a left-hand shift early and tacked right away. And so it's fairly close now between Lucas and Farley.
They've got about 68 meters between the two boats, and Farley's just dodging Lucas's wind shadow. Managing to stay in some good air.
Lucas should be able to just cover from here on out. So a good start for some of the VIT guys. A fairly straightforward first race. Very well done by Lucas. And Ramon, yeah, he recovered pretty decently, right? He's still in 4th?
Still in 4th right now. I'm going to try to give our viewers a recap of how tonight's event is going to go down. There will be, first of all, 6 fleet races. There are going to be 3 fleets. Each fleet will race twice. And then players, after every 2 races, will be assigned a new fleet. Here we go, rounding the next downwind. It is Lucas still in the lead, but Farley and Nauzed picking up penalties, hitting the mark. Is Farley going to be able to stay second here? Looks like he might be able to. But here we see Bart coming back also very quickly into 3rd.
A strong left-hand shift like that, it ends up being pretty much a train all the way to the finish line as long as somebody doesn't hit the mark. And that's pretty much what you're seeing here.
All right, so that was the first race of the evening. We're going to be jumping back and forth between all the fleets in the beginning of the evening, so it's going to be a little bit hard to bring you the results as we go along. We'll try to wait until race number 6 and see if the results get updated this evening on Sail Ranks. If you want to go follow the results, you can check out the link that we put in the video description. Lucas Moore coming in and scoring a very important first place early on in the evening, followed by Arthur Farley, and then Bart Lambrix. We have Luca Kostlovic in 10th place, a little bit surprising from the Italian player of the MCES Italia, and also 2nd place at the E-Americas Cup. We know he's very good on foiling boats. Yeah. Shortest distance, though, sailed by Luca, although still didn't help him as he came in 10th. And let's see what race we can go catch. Right now, there are 3 different fleets racing in the first part of the evening. Hey Alberto, good to see you in the chat as well. I was wondering if you were going to be streaming on your end in Italian. If you are not familiar with Alberto's channel, you can go on Twitch. And if you like Italian commentary and especially gameplay, it's a really good channel to subscribe to. It's really unfortunate that you can't adjust sound levels on Virtual Regatta and that you have to cut off the sound effects for the entire game, but that's how we're going to have to do it tonight. And meanwhile, we are listening to some pretty chill beats. Josh, you want to tell us a little bit what we're listening to?
You know, enjoying this game and being a sailor. In real life, my profession is that I'm a music producer and band and a DJ, and so I make mixtapes among other things that I release from time to time that are DJ mixes, and this is one of them. So it's about a third music that I've my own songs and my own productions, and mixed with music from other people as well. So a little bit like what a DJ set of mine might be like.
All right, well, we really appreciate you letting us use this music tonight. And
this stuff is made and inspired by sailing and being on the ocean, so it feels perfect for a situation like this. Are we going to go in? Which race are we going to go into?
We're waiting for Bravo to start. Yeah, I should let you know that. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
I'm just waiting for Bravo to fill up, and we should be able to catch this next fleet. We have event organizer Serre in this fleet, as well as MCS Tanguy, one French player, very strong over the last couple of months. We're going to be also seeing Stipe Coach. Let's take this quick moment to remind folks of the results of the last week and current standings, because there's only been one event in the ESailing World Series. Filippo Lanfranchi from MCS Italia is in the lead right now. He's already won the ESailing World Championship. That was 2 years back, if I'm correct. So you can see the level's consistent. He's been playing at the top level now for several years. Then there was Carlos Parejo from, he's the newest addition of to Unicorns of Love team. Younger player here, and also out of the CNS formation in Spain. and then followed by ESailing Tristan Perron from France and from the Bretagne Nautique Club as well. Here we go. We've got Bravo Fleet starting up right now. Try to catch the race a little bit earlier now.
It's set up everywhere, and what everyone's trying to do at this point is protect the space underneath them so that they won't get hooked.
Super tricky to do, all while maintaining speed on the start, because you want to get the most amount of speed possible. This is why all the boats start so far from the starting line in F50s. If you can manage to build up that speed on the starting line, you can get ahead. Oh, we've got Stipe Coach right now. Very good start, well ahead of the two pursuing boats.
Sometimes when the wind is dying, it's very easy to be late to the start, and I think that's what happened there. Was almost half the fleet was pretty considerably late. And that's usually just caused to a discrepancy of what the expected wind velocity is versus what actually happens. So again, left-hand turn is favored, left-hand side of the course is favored, so you'll see the boats round the mark and attack immediately. I like what Tanguy did there because he was able to get out in clear air. He took the less favored turn but went to the correct side of the course, and I think he's going to go from fourth into third here because of that. There's much more wind on the left-hand side of the course, so it wouldn't surprise me to see some of the boats trying to stay on the left-hand side. Stipe Coach has a really favored position at the moment.
We see them going over back to the right side now. And they're going to be all coming in on starboard here, protecting their position.
What we saw there was that infamous boundary penalty, with Edu getting the penalty from Chico, I think. Yep. A close cross there
between Tanguy and Chico. Just saw that. Just barely passed for the French boat.
Well, Stipe Coach is punched. I think that this is his race by a long shot. But the race for second should be interesting. Again, down at the bottom, the left-hand turn is the favored side, the favored turn, and the wind looks fairly square. I'm actually a little surprised to see Stipe Coach go for the right-hand turn.
Tanguy following, and Chico as well.
And they all want to go right.
Stipe Coach now with a considerable 100-meter lead. Shouldn't be able to put himself in too much danger.
And this battle for third, there's quite a pack here between third and eighth or so. Should be interesting to see how that plays out.
So Eduardo barely avoid picking up another pen.
So in the back of that pack, ESailing is heading very far right to the ley line. There's a little bit more wind on the right, but he's definitely taking a risk. It'll be interesting to see because I think he rounded in seventh. And that pack is now spread out very considerably across the course.
Oh, but a leave out from Valford.
Yeah, it did not
Almost
look
a
that
slam
bad.
dunk, putting him in difficult situation now. Stipe coach.
Definitely a calculated risk by going that far to the lay line. Stipe coach is going to have this race pretty easily. Chico holds third. Fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh should be an interesting mark rounding here.
Well, amongst other things, we're going to congratulate Stipe coach for winning his first race of the evening. Also congratulate him for recently enlarging his family, and that's a lot of work to do to be able to keep up a consistent level of e-sailing as well as handling a new baby at home. So GG to him. And Tanguy coming in second, Chico in third on this Bravo fleet. First race, or second race, I believe, of Bravo fleet. We have not yet gotten a full overview of the results for tonight, but we already have partial results, and I believe we already know who has come out of top of race number 1. It seems like it would be a tie right now between Roxy Joni, Lucas Moore, and Chico. Now we're pretty sure all 3 fleets have raced their first race of the evening.
Like in Alpha, Roxy Johnny got the first, and John Cardona got the second, and Grease 9 with the third. So very strong players in that fleet as well, and pretty much what you would expect here up at the top of the fleet.
All right, let's find the next race of the evening. Keep it going. We're probably into race 2 or even race 3. If you're just joining us tonight, it is ESailing World Series. Event number 2. This is going to be a very long event. It's going to go on until, I believe, the end of the year, or at least after summer.
Yeah, there are many events in a whole bunch of different boats, which is pretty exciting. I like the format that they're staying in one boat for a whole day. You know, most of the higher level racing seems to be a switching of a lot of classes on a race to race basis, but this causes for the races to be really, really close because everyone gets so comfortable in the boats.
You need a format that favors consistency. I know a lot of these players sometimes, put in the work to get good results on the ESailing World Championship events. They're definitely putting in tons of races and getting the volume in. So
yeah, it's a very different experience to then switch to some of the club races or championship races where each race is in a different boat. It's definitely a different experience.
I think we can catch the end of Fleet Alpha Race 2. So let's watch this right now. Interesting, Filippo Lanfranchi coming in first right now. So scoring a very important win early on in this event. He who already is in the lead of the ESailing World Series. And we've got Donnie Gillies and Grease 9 completing the podium. And Roxy Joni, who we just saw was first after the race 1, is still holding on with a very good 4th place.
Interesting to see that John Cardona there will take a last in that race after a second in the first race.
Yeah. John Cardona, if you're not sure about that or if you don't know, is currently defending ESailing World Champion. So always a lot on the line when he's in an event. Everyone wants to go for him, and they took down the number 1, the reigning number 1. But like we said, we've also got Filippo Lanfranchi here, We've also got Aseri and a lot of other very, very well ranked, very well placed sailors. You've seen all of these players during the ESailing World Championship playoffs, and also pretty regularly on TRL, ESailing Nations Cup, and all of that, all of those private events you can follow along.
Bravo and Charlie are both open.
Get there.
It's interesting. Also, I wish we could know what platform all the players were playing on. I always like to think about that because I didn't know this until watching one of John's streams earlier this year that he plays on an iPad. Other people play on iPads. Some people play on PC. Some people play even on phones. And some of the best players in the world do that. So it's always very interesting to find that out.
What do you play on?
I play on a MacBook Pro, so I'm playing on my laptop mostly. I've tried playing on a tablet, and I just can't get the feel.
Yeah, I know a lot of people play on tablets. I play on phone actually. I feel it's just the thing I'm most comfortable with. I've tried playing on keyboard, but it just doesn't feel right. So I don't get the same feeling of inertia, especially when I'm tacking. So there you go.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's forced.
The timing definitely feels different, for each. But what's interesting is that some of the best players in the world can make it work, on PC, and some of the best players in the world can make it work on phone, and some of the best players in the world can make it work on tablets. So it's really just about how comfortable you are, I suppose. And say good things and bad things about the team that made this game. But I think it's pretty remarkable that they've made something that does work as well as it does cross-platform.
Yeah, definitely. It's a testament to trying to make it a very accessible game. Hey, Bobby, good to see you. Good to see you after your stream. I saw that there were some Bobby Dazzler nervous Twitch streams on this evening a little bit earlier. Always good to see.
In. I played a few of those races yesterday, I think.
We're going to jump into Bravo right now if you want to be able to follow along. This is race number 3 of Bravo Fleet in tonight's ESailing World Series. I'm sorry. There's just a lot of ESailing World stuff going on right now. Trying to get them. Here we go for the start. This is Grease 9 in a good position. Doesn't have anybody under him. Gidra's here a little bit late. And it looks like that's Hadkalea. No, that's Aseri with the French sails. Also a little bit high on the mark. Will he be able to get ahead?
Yeah, Aseri should be able to get over at least one of those boats. Very well done by Lucas, though, again, coming from down below. Right
it's
side
always
of the course, and a left-hand turn looks like it's favored, and that's probably what we're going to see here.
Oh, there's Hadkalea picking up a penalty, and that was off of Grease 9. Got a little bit close to boat's turn. Now headed upwind.
An interesting split here between Lucas and Aseri choosing opposite sides, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. It looks to me like the left-hand side will end up paying here.
Well, yeah, it seemed like Lucas was in a shift, but was getting lifted, but here we see it's pretty shifty out there.
The question is, how soon does that left-hand shift come in? Does it come in quickly enough for Lucas? And the answer seems to be yes. That was a very critical cross of Byrie there. but it also seems like ESailing probably will keep that second. Maybe not, actually. So Byrie up the middle ended up paying for him. Most of the breeze here is course left, so the left-hand turn and heading down the left-hand side makes the most sense here. Unfortunately for ESailing, he's pushed to the other side, has to jibe. For the most part, going downwind in the F50s, staying on the side of the course with more breeze is the most important thing. Very hard to pass from behind. So for the most part, you're just looking for breeze.
Oh, ESailing here managing to jibe right in front of Umut and getting back into third place. Here we see Lucas is going to go for a full 70. Going back into the stronger wind on the right side.
Lucas seems to be pretty focused on Byrie right now, making sure that he's covering him very closely. And that has given ESailing some leverage in case the right pays.
Yep, we can see there ESailing's got some moves, got some room to make some moves.
ESailing got a 6th in the second race as well. And right now, Stipe coaches and Chico both have 4 points in first place. Well, the lefty stayed, so the top 3 remain the same.
Oh, here ESailing having to pack behind or pass behind Umut. Lost third place.
So that's an example of he was on starboard tack. You would think that you know, in real sailing, he would have had the advantage. He had to duck Umut. Otherwise, he would have drawn the penalty, even though he was on starboard. So that is the funny.
He had to leave. He had to let the other boat enough room to tack at the end of the race course. I think that's how it justified in the game. Now, obviously,
yes.
How the game interpreted, how the code interprets that rule is always a little bit hard to grasp sometimes. All right, so Lucas Moore, second race that we've watched him win tonight. I believe it's race 3, so we haven't seen all of Bravo Fleet's races, but
yeah, he has a 1st and a 6th, so 2 firsts and a 6th will be a very good start for him. Yeah, he seems to be winning this fleet right now.
Race 9 here, unfortunately, came down, lost a lot of places in the ranking on this race at one point. A pretty good start, but didn't work out. Race 9 is pretty well ranked in the current standings, so it'll definitely be interesting to see what he does tonight.
Yeah, Grease 9 has 2/3 so far.
Sarah doing well, had the best start, had the best speed, but only managing to get a 3rd place here. Oh. Yeah, and as you were saying, Stipe coach now currently leading the pack. 40 racers. We can only see the top 20 right now on your screen. What will be happening after race, if I'm not mistaken, race number 10 is there will be the medal race, and then it will be so the top 14 players. First of all, after race number 6, top 14 players move on into Gold Fleet. We'll be following that, and from those top 14 players who go on into race 7, 8, 9, 10, There will be another 10 selected for the medal and 5 for the super medal race. Changed a little bit from last time, so we're trying to get that information to you as clearly and as correctly as possible. But we'll also just see how it goes.
Excited to see this as it tightens up.
Yeah, it's still anyone's race right now. I think things are still very open. We should have. See, that is Charlie Fleet just finishing up race 4, so we won't be able to watch that one, but we will go see Alpha Fleet, who is filling up the lobby right now. Alpha Fleet race number 4 of tonight's ESailing World Series foiling event, F50. The gentleman's foiler. None of that NACRA or AC75 stuff. This is F50. This is ESail GP. Got some serious boats. And yeah, some players are doing especially well right now. Lucas Moore is one of them.
And in this fleet, Roxy Johnny's had a first and a fourth. And let's see. Bart has 2/3 and is in 4th overall. He's in 2nd place in this fleet. And then Donnie Gillies has a 6th and a 2nd. So those are probably the 3 boats to be watching right now as far as early in the regatta. I think, as we mentioned, John Cardona won the first race, or got 2nd, but then got 12th in the 2nd race. It'll be interesting to watch those guys, specifically Roxy Johnny, I think, who is pretty much he's in 2nd place in the full regatta.
We are watching John Cardona right now in the Japanese white and pink boat coming up here. 7 seconds to start. Let's see what he does.
Well timed.
Oh, almost a perfect start there. Now first, that's currently Ginsu, who's a little bit below him, but he should be able to get ahead.
Yep, very well done. Perfectly. It's nice to see boats with so much control. They're willing to get very, very close together on that reach leg, where I think if you were playing in the normal game, you'd be a lot more worried about boats coming up and tagging you with a penalty. So an early lead here. You probably see him tack around the mark, which he does.
That's Roxy Johnny picking up a pen here, as he jibed a little bit too late. Situation here, coming up on the right side.
John decides to tack and protect the left side. I think he sees that left-hand shift coming and wants to make sure that he's there. He's in a very controlling position right now, which is good.
Into 2000, not giving him a lot of room right now. He's on his tail. Has been from the beginning of the race. And there's only 60 meters on these boats. That's not much. There's the slightest mistake.
The only boats John has to worry about at the moment are the boats that have gone to the far right-hand side of the course in case there's a big righty. But it does not look like that's going to happen.
Oh, we see they're going to stay in that 5th, 6th, and 7th position right now.
Textbook first beat by John there. And very well done with the lead bow. ACF being able to sneak into 2nd place here.
Let's see how Ginsu reacts. Will he be able to? He's going to jibe away, and
it looks like there's a little bit more wind, course right, so that's why you're seeing these boats jibe and head to the right-hand lay line.
Could see Ginsu manage to squeeze in here on the mark. Especially if ACF decides to go opposite mark here. Yeah, they
a little bit of a split, but everybody wants to go right because there's a large right-hand shift coming. The reason John went to the right-hand turn, even though it maybe was not favored, was so that he had the option of sailing, decided not to pinch up and get through that boundary to get over the crook in the course. But he chose to tack, and he's in the controlling position across the course as the right-hand shift comes in. Pretty textbook. He's not leaving any passing lanes for people behind him.
John Cardona making it look easy. Let's see if Ginsu manages to hold on. No, he picks up a penalty within the boundaries. Although he was already port, so it doesn't make a big difference. Always a little bit hard to understand that rule when it comes to the opposite side. But there we go. ACF now in second.
Now you can see that left-hand marker, the left-hand mark being slightly more downwind, so it'll be the favored side for these boats to go to. Everybody's going there.
All right, so Juan picking up a very much needed win in this event. Not so much for him. Everyone needs a win. There's 40 racers, so even when you're racing in fleets of 13 or 14 boats, I believe they are racing with tonight. If you manage to get that one win, that's going to go so far in the rankings. That's going to allow you to hang on and keep a lot of doors open.
Definitely. I think it's so hard to be consistent in these boats because if you have a bad start or catch a penalty at the first mark, you know, you're going to be in the bottom half of the fleet, and passing is so difficult. There aren't very many passing lanes in these boats, and so staying clear is difficult. If you can manage to get all even top sixes, I think, you know, you're in a great position to do very well in a regatta like this. It'll be interesting to see after the race results get updated again.
Right now, we're gonna go and see if we can go see another race 4 from another fleet. Seems like Charlie is already almost finished with their race, so we're not going to start that one up right away. Bravo and Charlie are both pretty much finished with their race right now. Just watch the boats cross the finish line. All right, we've got I believe that this is Charlie right now. Chico finishing first, Farley finishing second, and Tanguy finishing third. Gotta try to bring you the results as they come in. Don't have time to bring you into the race because the game, it just takes too long to load, but we can tell you who's winning. I guess we're gonna be able to watch a second Alpha Fleet. Oh no, we're already changing up Alpha Fleet, so it's going to be still called Alpha, but it's going to be completely different boats, or at least a different lineup of boats. So this time we'll see Deja Vu that we haven't yet seen race tonight. Mike O'Donovan out of Scotland on the F50, which we know he's very fond of. Deja Vu likes his ESail GP.
There's some mistakes in the results at the moment, so they're trying to fix that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work putting together an event with so many races.
It's very impressive, and in a lot of cases, the event organizers are also simultaneously racing. So
Also, yeah,
very, very impressive when people can run the races, manage the results, and race competitively all at the same time.
And they're also managing everything on the Discord end as well. Let's not forget that.
Pretty incredible.
There's a ton of work being put into organizing ESailing events, and we're just really lucky to have so many events coming up so often that we can stream them, bring them to the audience, and bring them to the community without having to organize them ourselves. I can tell you we wouldn't be able to. Organizing the streams and the events is just an insane amount of work, and I applaud a lot of these channels, whether it's Yancy TV or Roxy Joni or ESailing TV, who are at the organization end as well as the streaming end. Right, unfortunately, I don't know what happened to Alpha. It was going to be launched and then the lobby disappeared.
I'm not seeing anything in the Discord actually about failing, so I'm not sure why that happened.
All right, let's go back really quickly to the rankings before tonight's event started. Just to people who didn't catch that at the beginning of the stream. So these are the current rankings of the Sailing World event, World Series. They're also the results of the first event, because there's only been one event so far. And yeah, Team Vit right now pretty well represented with 4 players in the top 20. Obviously, Unicorns of Love also dominating the top 10 with Lucas Moore, Acere, and Carlos Parejo. Not a very surprising result there, but they must be very satisfied with that. And in the second half of the standings, got Stipe Coach in 21st position, Kan Mazlumka, also known as Havuk, 22. Juan Cardona here, 23. He's probably looking for a result tonight to come back up and to get a good position coming into the next events of the Sailing World Series. And Farley also, this was one of the results that sort of surprised me. Oh, there's a bunch more races. Don't worry, Albatross. We've got at least another 8 races to bring you tonight, so you've got enough ESailing action to go all through your lunch break. Yeah, Farley here, not getting a great result. I didn't watch the J70 event back in March. Did you get a chance to catch that? You told us you did watch it on the Sarah's channel.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I seem to remember Farley might have decided not to sail some of the later races, so that might explain his lower score.
It's a tumultuous temperament. If things aren't going his way, I can understand him. I could totally see him dropping out of an event, no matter how high the stakes. It's about being 100% and being very, very demanding with yourself, especially at that level. So here we go. We should be getting race 5 for Fleet Alpha starting up in just a couple of seconds.
Great. It seems like some of the scores may still be wrong in the results, but I'm sure that they will get those figured out.
Yeah, that's why we were telling the audience a little bit earlier that it's best to wait until at least the end of race 6 to give people a clear idea of what the rankings are, what the standings are. Obviously, getting first place in these first races helps a lot.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite boat in the game, if I may ask you? If it's not.
I like the slower boats myself. I love the J70. I love offshore. I just like to have a little bit more time to make tactical decisions, whereas it really feels like in the F50 or the NACRA that time, maybe your internet connection and your boat handling and quick reflexes matter a lot more. And I like sailing for slower decision making. I think when I'm playing TRL, I get worked a lot harder doing the F50 races for sure.
Yeah, there's no moment to rest. You can't enjoy the view during the downwind beat.
There's no enjoying the view. That's for
No,
sure.
no, you just
I find myself
hearts racing 120 BPM.
definitely. I'm excited to see this race here. It seems like there's some shuffling of some players maybe going in and out.
All right, so should we watch Alpha Fleet race number 5?
Oh yeah.
All right, that's the one we're going to be bringing you in just a second. Thanks for bearing with us, and stay tuned. We're going to be here for another, like we said, there's 12 races tonight, so another 7 races, and especially a medal and super medal with the very top players of tonight's evening. And there are a lot of good players to tonight's event. Good question in the chat. Who would you say is the best player right now in the game? I'd have to say it's a toss-up for me between Farley and Rock on Fire. I know I'm going to make some people unhappy with that's just an opinion.
Yeah, Rock has been doing so good out of nowhere, especially with the America's Cup. It's hard not to throw a Serie in there. It seems like,
absolutely
always in the top few.
It's really my question is then what events do you take into consideration to say who's the best right now? There's so many events going on.
Yeah, the VRI, Sailing Club events tend to have most of the top players, and just looking at that and combined with TRL.
But then there's the sheer volume of players who do ESailing World Championship, and then it's really a lot more open to maybe players who don't play on private servers but do very, very good results. I'm thinking about a French player that I often see. I think his name is Alex K or something right now. I couldn't be able to tell you, but he's never in any of these private leagues. However, he has awesome results on the ESailing World Championship. That's the question I've asked myself many times is what's the ponderation? How do you weigh the different events against one another?
I certainly find, I think right now I'm the second or third highest ranked American in the
U.S. Sailing
series.
Federation
And
ESailing Federation.
And yet when I do the private server races that are pretty, races that are more like what we're watching now, I don't want to say I have more trouble, but I mean, maybe compared with Americans, I do the same, but the racing is very different. And there's a set of skills that leads you to be able to put up 6 first place in a row, which is maybe kind of what you need to do in the VRI series, as compared with the private server races is much more like real life, where the level of competition is so high with all the racers that are there that you're really not trying to win races. You're trying to consistently finish near the top. So the set of skills tends to be very different, which is interesting. Although, the best players tend to finish at the top regardless. But it's the strategies you use on a race-to-race basis are pretty different. So you're right that I don't know. There are different styles suit different players for sure.
We've been watching this race unfold as you're giving us your insight on the different types of events and different types of formats that you can find in ESailing today, which is really, and it's growing every day. But Juan Cardona here has been yo-yoing from second, first to fourth and fifth. Had to tack down, lost 5 places, but managed to come back up over on the shift, and currently second as the downwind beat starts. Ginsu unfortunately wasn't able to hold on to his first place, has now come back down to sixth, and it's Lundberg currently sitting at I think 39 or 40 in the ESailing World Series rankings, who's come up first. This I want to say Norwegian, but it's going to be Finnish boat, is pretty new to the ESailing scene, but is definitely pulling off a feat right now ahead of Juan Cardona and a lot of other very good boats. Deja Vu in fifth, Roxy Joni in sixth.
Great to see that happen. I'm not very familiar with him as a player either, but that's pretty exciting, I think, to be in that position. His finishes today, it looks like, have been
Juan picking up a penalty here on the mark. It happens to the best. Look at that, everybody. It can happen to anyone. I think Lundberg managed to come up ahead here during the first upwind, the very beginning of the first upwind. We'll have to go back and rewatch that, but he was able to pen Ginsu, and I believe it was I want to say Umut also, who was following him. Went all the way to the right side of the track and then managed to squeeze into a very good position now into the stronger wind.
It'll be interesting to see as Ginsu decides to go pretty hard right out of some of the bigger breeze, but gaining some leverage. I think it was not the right move. Lundeberg's going to be able to move up even further. Kind of gives John Cardona a bit of an opportunity here, as John will be coming in on starboard tack on the next cross. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but my guess would be that John is going to be in second now at the mark. I think Ginsu was trying to make a play for first place, and it's going to end up coming to bite him, as I don't think he'll even be in fourth.
Deja Vu just picking up a penalty here from Lukas Koslovic, I believe. Tried to tack on his bow, but a little bit late. Very interesting race. There were some impressive moves here at the start and on this first downwind, and it put out a very interesting result. On Cardona now comforting his position with this second place. A second place is really not a bad result for him. And see, Sinjid here has managed to squeeze in right ahead of Roxy Joni for that third place. Will he be able to hold on to it? Yes.
And Roxy's race was really good. I think he was able to come back from 6th or 7th there on that last beat to get into 4th.
Is he going to hold on? Yes, he does. And Luka Koslovic coming in 4th.
Oh, I think
no, Roxy finished. But we're going to have to go back to the computer to see what happened. No, Roxy in 4th, Luka in 5th, Ginsu in 6th. I think it's also, when it comes to deciding who's the best player, it's also who's getting the most hours and the most amount of practice in at any given time. Video games, and I'm not gonna lie, Virtual Regatta is a video game. Although, we got a DSQ from Farley and from, well, gonna be great for results. Yeah, it also takes a lot of muscle memory, a lot of getting used to maneuvers and how the game's being played. There's a lot of little changes, trends going on in how players exploit the game.